Yo, 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 yo. What's up, everybody? Good morning, good morning. Another beautiful day, man. Fall is upon us. Fall is here, guys. Oh, no. Oh, no. All right, we're good. Everything's fine. Everything's all right. Don't worry. Everything's fine. That weather is, it's dropping down, man. It's not like cold yet, but it's definitely, we're working our way out of summer for sure. Oh, get that Java. Good morning, guys. A good day to you, whatever time it is. I don't know what we're gonna play today. We'll probably get a little bit of both City Skylines and Shatterline. And I think I'm gonna start with Shatterline though. That's the way I'm feeling today. For some reason, I'm just feeling like I want to start off with Shatterline this morning. I don't know why. I'm really enjoying that new event mode they have on, just with the precision shots and everything. It's a lot of fun. So probably dive in there first thing this morning after we do our video gaming news segment, which is what we are always going to start off with. Let's get over there and get to it, okay? Let's do what we do. Get into this video gaming news. Let's go. All right. See what we can find. I'm probably not going to read through this, but Netflix says it's opening a video game studio in Finland. In an attempt to try to boost audience numbers. Okay. I mean, Netflix is really going hard, right? Netflix is going hard on their venture into this pivot into the gaming industry, you know? And we'll see how it pays off. I feel like they've made a couple of decent moves here for their initial kind of dive in. So we'll just have to see what lies ahead for them. They've bought a few different studios. Um, they're building up their repertoire, as it were, their portfolio of games that you can access by having a subscription and accessing those titles through their app. Um, and you don't have to deal with any kind of ads or things like that in those games. They're just accessible through their platform, right? So I don't know. We'll see how it works for them moving forward. And the most recent notable title that they've added was Oxenfree, right? So they got Oxenfree as part of their lineup on their platform, and they actually, if I remember correctly, they bought the studio that developed Oxenfree as well. Was it Nightline Studios, something like that? I can't remember, but we've read about that recently as well. What is the name of that dev? Let's get that correct. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Night School Studio. Excuse me. Yeah. So there we go. Night School Studios Oxenfree is on Netflix's app now, which is a good move by them. Oxenfree is supposed to be an absolutely excellent title, and I haven't played it myself, but it is renowned as being a very good experience. So um, we'll see how Netflix keeps moving forward. Oh, dude. Disney reportedly wants two Star Wars games per year. We'll read about it. Um, Personally, I mean, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it when we get to the article. We talked about this yesterday. If you're having issues with Windows 11 and NVIDIA working well together, NVIDIA has apparently rolled out some fixes for those issues. So there are new NVIDIA drivers out. Go take a look, grab those, get them installed, and it should fix any kind of Windows 11 issues you're currently having, okay? Ubisoft CEO sparks controversy. Let's see what's going on there. So Wo Long Fallen Dynasty only has one difficulty setting. You can now play NES games on the Analog Pocket. All right. Atlas suing fans who resurrected their MMO. Weird. Okay, let's take a look at that. You know what? I bet this is talking about what I noted yesterday in noticing on the Epic Game Store, which is your ability to customize your library now. But let's take a look at this, okay? On the Epic Game Store. Let's go ahead and pivot here. Meta patent could lead to better lip sync in video games. Let's take a look. We've already talked about this. Marvel has no plans for a video game Marvel universe. They should be referring to it as the Marvel video game universe instead of a Marvel cinematic universe. It doesn't make any sense. But they have no plans to do the same thing in the video gaming world for Marvel that they've done with the cinematic side of the Marvel universe, right? Which is tying all these stories in together to kind of be the same, have the same storylines and things like that. They're not doing that in the games. Looks like E3 has made their 2023 dates official. I'm still going to take that with a grain of salt because E3 has been like basically non-existent over the past 2 to 3 years. They keep saying we're going to have E3 and then it doesn't happen. And people keep referring to the summer showcases as E3, even though it's not actually E3. So we'll take a look and we'll see what's going on there. Hold on. Like GameStop has a lot of great game deals right now. Let's take a look, see if we can't find some deals for everybody on there. Um, New Silent Hill game, short message releasing soon. We've hit on Silent Hill stuff a lot here recently. I'm not going to dive into that article. We've seen a lot of stuff. We've seen rumor mill stuff for a long time now in regards to potential Silent Hill remakes, as well as new potential possible entries into the series. And we've also recently seen where a particular well-known leaker for the video gaming industry came out and said that they had made up some stuff. But there's also things that have come about for the Silent Hill games that we can't help but lead us to believe that there are some things in the work, right? As far as images that have leaked and been posted online that Konami came out very, very quickly afterwards and put DMCA violations out on, so they got taken down real quick. There's a lot of stuff that has happened that makes us believe that new Silent Hill games are coming, and we've talked a lot about it, so I'm not going to dive into this. Genshin has revealed their new character. We'll take a look. Yeah, again, I'll just touch on this real quick. This is pretty big news, and we've already talked about the fact that apparently the individual, primary at least individual behind this hack and the release of this information from Rockstar Games in regards to the GTA 6 stuff has been arrested, and this was roughly probably 4 or 5 days ago. This is a 17-year-old individual. Yeah. Let's see here. See if they have any more details than what we've seen already. Yeah, on September 22nd. So yeah, 5 days ago, the City of London police arrested Teapot Uber hacker, confirmed to be 17-year-old AK, identified by initials only due to being underage. Prosecutors have charged him with 2 counts of violating bail and 2 counts of violating computer misuse laws in Britain. At least 2 other people are believed to be involved in the cyber attacks, with more arrests to be expected in the future. Usually there are at least a few individuals involved in this kind of venture. Not always, but quite often. That's why I assumed they were probably after a couple of other people. But 17-year-old individual from London. Um, there you go. I think that's the most that we're going to get for a little while on this, anyways. But that's what you need to know. We'd already kind of seen that, but make sure everybody's. I mean, that's big news for people. So HBO Max's The Last of Us trailer breakdown. See, look at that. New Xbox controller design leaked. All right, last page here. Switch Online gets another new set of retro freebies. Cool. Take a look. Talked about this yesterday. It looks like Bungie and Sony probably have a mobile version of Destiny 2 in the works now. Specifics on that we don't really have yet. So whether this is going to be an actual like conversion of the current game, the current Destiny 2 game, into a mobile version, or it actually like a completely different version of the game that's just going to be labeled Destiny 2 Mobile. We're not really sure yet details, but as more comes out, I'm sure we will see it. We'll find out and we'll keep track, okay? Novel-based game Ginkgo from Frontline announced. All right, let's stick with that. See what we have here. Novel-based games Ginkgo from Frontline announced for 2023 PC release. On Saturday, the visual novel developer Frontline unveiled a brand new game called Ginkgo. In 2023, the game will have its PC premiere. The plot will be planned and written by Asta Kono, and Usano will create the character designs. The television anime for Frontline and Makura's video game Atri, My Dear Moments, was revealed by Aniplex on Saturday. In June 2020, Aniplex.exe launched the game on the PC in English, Japanese, traditional Chinese, and simplified Chinese. Along with iOS and Android devices, the game is also accessible on Nintendo Switch. In 2021, Bushiroad bought a controlling 50.625% interest in Frontwing Lab, the organization that owns Frontwing. Frontwing was established in 1999 and is most known for its adult visual novels, particularly the Grishaya and Island series, which both served as the basis for anime adaptations. The smartphone game Grishaya Chronos Rebellion, which premiered in November 2020, is the most recent installment in the Grishaya series. In November 2020, the animated Stargazer OVA Grishaya Phantom Trigger debuted in theaters. A new television anime version of the company's video game Grishaya Phantom Trigger will also be released. All right. HBO Max's The Last of Us trailer breakdown. First teaser trailer for HBO Max's The Last of Us upcoming TV show based on the best-selling video game has just arrived. Until now, we've only seen a handful of stills, but now we get our first look at Joel, Ellie, and even a clicker making some noise and giving us a nice jump scare at the end. The Last of Us received a straight-to-series order, which means HBO is not filming a pilot episode and is instead launching directly into the series. Kantemir Balagov directed the season premiere, while celebrated directors Jasmila Zbanik and Ali Abbasi have also been tapped to direct episodes in the first season. The creative director of the game, Neil Druckmann, and Craig Mazin are also signed on as executive producers. So when the teaser dropped, we sat down and went through the almost 2 minutes of footage and broke down some Easter eggs that we might actually get in the first season and what things might have changed. Fans have been anticipating this first look for years. While the series doesn't hit HBO Max until sometime in 2023, looks like it will be worth waiting a little longer for what we've seen so far. Start of the trailer, we see Joel wearing a broken wristwatch. Joel wore it at all times, even after it broke, ever since his daughter Sarah gave it to him as a birthday present. It's even broken the same way with cracks that mirror its in-game counterpart. Very cool. Look for the light. The Fireflies were a revolutionary militia group featured in both The Last of Us games, but in the trailer we see a town come together and paint over their symbol at the start of it. Fireflies revolted against military oppression in numerous quarantine zones around the U.S., intending to restore government control, but were mostly unsuccessful. First look at Bill. In the trailer we got our quick look at Bill, seemingly ready to fire on Joel. Bill and his partner Frank were the only survivors living in Lincoln, Massachusetts, a town that was populated by an unusually large number of infected. At some point, Frank left Bill on his own and disappeared. Since then, Bill booby-trapped and set up barricades around his small town for his protection. Click, click, click. Clickers are a type of infected that appear throughout the game. They're a little more difficult to take down than runners, but are blind and react heavily to sounds. Here we have Joel tell a small group to keep quiet as a clicker and make themselves known by their trademark call. Queen Firefly herself, Marlene. Marlene is the Firefly leader and the main antagonist of the first game. She was once close to Joel's brother Tommy. Leading the Fireflies, Marlene fought against the totalitarian rule of the military, within the quarantine zones to restore a form of functional government. The Fireflies have been successful in overthrowing military rule in several zones, namely Salt Lake City, where she established her base. Towards the end of the trailer, we see Joel and his daughter Sarah as they try to escape Austin. In the Last of Us game, this is how Joel's journey begins. You play as Sarah, then as Joel trying to get himself, his daughter, and try to find Tommy to leave the city and figure out what's going on. In the game's timeline, in 2033, the U.S. military currently controls Boston, with the city acting as one of the last functioning quarantine zones in America. Ellie was born there and lived in the city before meeting Joel. Riley on the carousel. Riley Abel, played by Storm Reed, is a main character of the first game and appears in flashbacks and part of the DLC content. Her friendship with Ellie was the focus of the Left Behind DLC, and we see the two teens share a moment on the carousel in the deserted mall. Full look of a clicker. Trailer ends on a fully horrifying look at a clicker, and wow, they're exactly how they appear in the game. We saw hints of a runner while Joel was in Austin, but no signs of bloaters or crawlers just yet. It's good to know the show won't shy away from the visual imagery of the game. There you go. There you go. So, for anybody interested, there you go. That's a pretty good look at what the trailer has to offer right now. One second, guys. Okay. So, new Xbox controller design leaked. Over the last 2 years, Microsoft has released a handful of compelling controller options for the Xbox Series X and Xbox Series S. Apparently, that number is set to grow by one later this week, as reputable Microsoft leaker Illumia Italia on Twitter has shared an image of a new mineral camo design. The official licensed wireless controller has a sharp blue design that's sure to appeal to a lot of Xbox fans. The images originally came from a listing from retailer Microplay, which also shared a September 27th release date and an MSRP of $80 US. While the listing from Microplay is no longer active, an image of the mineral camo controller can be found in the tweet from Illumia Italia embedded below. Okay. Reception to the design seems pretty strong so far. However, given the sheer number of controller options available for the console, it's hard to say how many users will jump to obtain this controller. Xbox has done a very nice job offering a wide array of controller options, including the current crop of wireless controllers, elite controllers, backwards compatible Xbox One controllers, and even custom options available through Xbox Design Lab. For those in the market for something new, this is certainly a stylish option. Yep. Cool. Switch Online gets another new set. I mean, I think the thing that's wild there is that's like what they're saying, $80, and that's just a regular Xbox controller, right? It's just got a new it's just a new design, new colors. So you'll pay roughly $35, $40 more for some so, the camo design, dude, I don't know. To each their own, I guess. Switch Online gets another new set of retro freebies. Nintendo Switch Online subscribers once again have a new set of free icons to claim based on the original Nintendo Entertainment System. This week, the company added options based on a handful of games for the system, including Metroid, Kid Icarus, and Excite Bike. Last week, fans had the option of snagging icons based on the original NES console design and the Japanese Famicom. This time around, the fans can find icons based on the redesigned NES hardware released late in the system's lifespan. Top-loading version of the console is a lot less iconic, so some Nintendo fans might not be as familiar with the design. While the Switch console has a number of free profile icons that any user can choose from, Nintendo regularly releases free options exclusive to the Switch Online subscribers. In addition to the current retro offerings, the last few weeks have seen designs released based on Animal Crossing, New Horizons, and Splatoon 3. These options can be obtained for just 10 Platinum points each. Platinum points don't actually cost anything and are very easy to come by, Subscribers that are running low can find a handful of ways to earn more in the Nintendo Switch Online tab found at the bottom of the Switch home screen. Of course, these profile icons are actually one of the smaller benefits offered to the Nintendo Switch Online subscribers. The service's main draw is that it allows players to enjoy online play for a number of popular games, including Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Super Mario Maker 2. All subscribers also gain access to retro titles from Nintendo's past, including NES and Super Nintendo games. Last year saw the release of the Nintendo Switch Online Expansion Pack, which is a more expensive subscription tier that also includes access to games originally released for the Nintendo 64 and Genesis. Yep, there you go. Disney reportedly wants 2 Star Wars games a year. Publisher is said to be pushing for 1 big AAA game and 1 smaller game every fiscal year going forward. Disney is betting big on Star Wars video games. Publisher is reportedly planning to put out 2 new Star Wars games every year, consisting of 1 big AAA game, 1 smaller game every fiscal year. That includes several games that have already been announced as part of its upcoming slate. Insider Gaming reports that Lucasfilm is on board for the plan as well, as reflected in several of its upcoming projects. Those include Jedi Survivor from Respawn, Star Wars Eclipse from Quantic Dream, the competitive shooter Star Wars Hunters, and untitled games from Skydance Media, Respawn, and Ubisoft. The game from Skydance was long rumored as Amy Hennig's next project. Insider also reports that several more games are also in pre-development. It's not clear which of these are smaller projects, or if anything in the currently announced slate fits that designation. This also suggests that some of the games are still years away, like Star Wars Eclipse. Disney acquired Star Wars in 2012 for more than $4 billion. It gave an exclusive contract to EA to make Star Wars games, but the publisher's game output was relatively low. The contract recently expired, but EA says it is still committed to putting out Star Wars games going forward. Jedi Survivor is a sequel to one of EA's biggest Star Wars successes, Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn. Meanwhile, other developers have announced their own projects. Yeah. Like we recently saw, I mean, there are a lot of Star Wars games in development right now. One of the biggest recent of note to have news was the remake of the Knights of the Old Republic, which needs to be done very well or it's going to get absolutely bashed. And apparently, whenever the leads for the game took what had been completed, I don't know, what we're talking like at the end of the first quarter of this year, so right at the beginning of summer, I think it was, they took into the heads of the company a look at what had been developed so far in the game, and they immediately got fired. So apparently the heads of the company did not like what they saw from the game, and they immediately got fired, and now the game has been put kind of on an indefinite hold. So we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the remake of Knights of the Old Republic at this point. I think here's my thing with Star Wars, man. And I knew this was going to happen once Disney got a hold of Star Wars. It's just like all these, like anything else that it's just, it gets it's so polluted with stuff. It's, I loved Star Wars growing up. And I remember when they finally announced they were going to make the new Star Wars movies whenever I was young. I was like, oh, there was so much hype around it for me, And then, as Disney has gotten a hold of these Star Wars rights and everything, they own the Star Wars rights. There's no more hype for me around any of the Star Wars stuff. It's just polluted. There's just so much Star Wars, and the hype for me is lost. It's not there anymore. There's no uniqueness to it really anymore. It's just, there's just too much. And this is just, and of course that's what Disney's going to do, right? They're just going to push out as much as they can. because that's their business, man. It's entertainment, and if people are gonna buy it, that's what they're gonna do. But for me, as whenever I look at something that piques my interest, I don't want to be flooded with the content. I don't want to be flooded with it. I want a little bit of a lull in between to build up the hype and the anticipation. I don't need years and years or anything, but I need a little bit of time in between to uh, you know go without. Make me want it a little bit more, instead of just being constantly flooded with the content. And I think the thing for me with Star Wars is also the fact that with Disney owning it, it's so hard for me. I mean, it's obviously been it's been hard for me to get into any of the Disney Star Wars stuff, the Star Wars stuff since Disney has owned it, really, because it's developed to be much more acclimated all the way across the board for a younger audience, and I don't need it to be, like a mature rated kind of thing, but I like the dark side, man, and I would love to see some Star Wars stuff come out that was a little bit more dark and ominous and have some eerie vibes to it and everything, and you're just not going to see that with Disney. But prepare, because they're not going to stop. It's just going to be they're just going to waterboard you with Star Wars content forever. That's just the way it's going to be. Ubisoft CEO sparked controversy by saying that making games requires friction. Perhaps not a great choice of words. Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot has sparked controversy by saying that you need a little friction to make video games, a remark that caused backlash because of the company's well-known problems with toxicity and abusiveness in the workplace. Creating a video game is not easy, Guillemot said in a recent interview with La Presse in reply to a question about why workplace misconduct seems so widespread in the game industry. There is a challenge from time to time, a lot of tension. Techniques must be put in place to ensure that everyone succeeds in finding their place. To create, you need a little friction because everyone has to succeed in getting their idea across. It's a job that brings a lot of rewards when you succeed, but it's difficult. It's a fairly innocuous statement about the nature of collaborative work and not quite a direct quote because the interview is in French. That's what I was wondering. Like the translation there might not be exact. Still, the friction comment immediately raised eyebrows because of Ubisoft's long and ugly history with workplace abuses. Those issues first came to widespread attention in mid-2020, and while some high-level managers were ousted in the immediate aftermath of those revelations, many employees have been critical of what they feel is an overly slow pace of meaningful change. In July, for instance, the employee group A Better Ubisoft shared an open letter saying that, quote, "We have seen nothing more than a year of kind words, empty promises, and an inability or unwillingness to remove known offenders." Guillemot pushed back on those claims in a games industry interview earlier this month, saying that, quote, "We have done a lot to tackle abuses and acted quickly in cutting some people's jobs when allegations of wrongdoing came to light." He echoed those sentiments in response to criticism of his comments in the interview, saying that there's absolutely no place for toxicity at Ubisoft or in our industry. Guillemot and Ubisoft have previously pointed to employee surveys indicating that the company is moving in the right direction, including in a recent games industry interview, but those two have fallen under criticism from some employees for lacking context and specificity. Yeah, I think there's something to be said for, anytime you have any kind of culture change within a business is hard. Changing culture is difficult. And I think what has to be discerned and taken away from this kind of situation is, is Ubisoft actually incorporating substantial change within their corporation to try to make things better for people? Is that what they're actually doing? or is a lot of what they've done a facade? You know, are these things that they're going, oh, we're doing this, you know? We're doing this. Yo, Wick, what's up, dude? You know, and they've just incorporated some of these very surface level kinds of ideas that they can at least let them say that they're doing things when it's really it's not doing anything to improve what the working conditions are there for people, you know? And I think that it's easier to lean towards the latter there that I've been talking about whenever you see groups like this within their company. What were they called? The a better Ubisoft. You know, this is a group of people within their company that have come together and are pushing for a better workplace and are saying that they've in the past year they still haven't seen any kind of real change, you know. Late for work this morning? It's cool, dude. I already talked to the boss. He said he didn't even really need you today, so you can just go back and play Shatterline with me. Don't even worry about it, dude. You're good. Boss is cool with it. But we'll see moving forward, I'm sure, in regards to Ubisoft and how things are running. Wo Long, Fallen Dynasty only has one difficulty setting. Oh no, people are going to freak out. I won't be able to play it. It's going to be too hard for me. So no easy mode. But I find it funny that people there's such a big controversy around this in the game industry, you know. And it you know, became very popularized by From Software and their Dark Souls games, and you know, a lot of other developers have kind of grabbed that same development process and run with it and been like, well, you know, this is, and the battle there from the point of the developer is like, this is our piece of art, you know, and this is the way, this is what we want the game to be, and this is how we are developing the game to be experienced. This and only this. We didn't ever set out to develop this game to be experienced in any other way, any other difficulty setting. So this is what you get, you know, and I respect that. I do. And I'm probably a little bit biased because I play games on a very hard difficulty level all the time. So I'm probably a little bit biased in saying that, like, I'm cool with that. I respect that. But, you know, it leaves a lot of people out in the cold and feeling like, you know, they can't enjoy these games that look like they would be fun to them, but when they dive in there and start trying to play them, they don't have such a good time because the difficulty on these games is a bit maybe too much for some people, right? And then, you know, they're like, well, why can't I experience this game for what it has to offer on a difficulty that is more appropriate to my skill level, you know? And ultimately, I think that really it's just up to the developer. And again, I mean, I just played a game where Cult of the Lamb, we played Cult of the Lamb, right? And Cult of the Lamb, I played on the hardest difficulty level, and it did not feel hard. It did not feel difficult to me. It felt... What were the difficulty settings? There were 4 different difficulty settings of easy, I think, medium, hard, and very hard. And we played on very hard through the entire game. I never played on anything else. And I even had Twitch integration on where I had you guys, like, you know, chat was breaking down all my my temporary housing and stuff and making things harder on me. But I mean, ultimately, there were some parts of the game that felt like management-wise a little bit rough from time to time until we really got going. But gameplay-wise, that game did not feel hard. But there are other games that don't have difficulty settings that are absolutely difficult. You know, you're talking about like game like Elden Ring. Elden Ring had some tough parts in it, man. Some of those bosses, until you really found out how to fight those guys, And, it was always different depending on, it's going to be different depending on what kind of build you're running, if you're doing any kind of dot damage to those guys, anything like that. But I had bosses I died a lot to. And it was molding. Absolutely. But I enjoy that kind of content. Some people don't. So, Wolong Fallen Dynasty will only have one difficulty setting throughout the entire game. Sadly, for some players, the difficulty isn't easy. Let's take a look. This is 15 minutes of Wolong. Oh my glob. We're not going to watch all this. But I will link it to you in case you want to take a look at it. How about that? How about that? In a previous article covering Wolong Fallen Dynasty, I mentioned that the game was being developed by Team Ninja. Team Ninja, for those who are not familiar with the company, is behind Nioh and Ninja Gaiden. These games are notorious for being very difficult and unforgiving, and that just might be the case with Wolong as well. In an interview held during the recently concluded Tokyo Game Show 2022, producer Masaki Yamagiwa answered some questions about the game's difficulty. He was asked by the interviewer, Next Gen Player, if the team was planning to add a way to make things more accessible, but not necessarily easier. Next Gen mentioned that many gamers want to try these games, but feel like they are too hard. Yamagiwa replies by saying that they believe it's good to just have one difficulty. This makes it so that everyone who plays the game has the same experience. He says that this gives everyone the same feeling of accomplishment once they have beaten intense challenges. Yamagiwa continues by saying that they are giving the players different ways to beat said challenges. He was most likely referring to the different weapons, magic, and summons the players have access to throughout the game. Players are free to choose which combination of these they use in the game, changing how they play. This allows the player to adapt and find a playstyle that suits them. Yamagiwa also brings up a morale system which players can increase throughout the game. This morale rank allows players to take on more difficult opponents or have an easier time with others. He also brings up the leveling system the game has, similar to other RPGs. The game also has a multiplayer aspect. The player and up to 2 others can team up and take down bosses together. All of these contribute to helping the players clear Wolong in their own way, which Yamagiwa says is really important to Wolong's game design. To summarize, Wolong has the same difficulty for everyone who wants to tackle it. Players have various tools at their disposal to assist them in their playthrough of the game. It is up to them to figure out what works to help them beat the game's many challenges. That's like so many other games that have been developed without any kind of difficulty scaling, or difficulty options. Quite often what you have to do is utilize the other mechanics of the game to figure out ways to get through what you might find to be obstacles or roadblocks to your progression, right? And that is what a lot of game players that gravitate towards these types of games, that's what you find to be enticing about it, I guess, right? Is you might feel stuck a little bit, you might find some obstacles, but working your way through it, getting that feeling of accomplishment and getting through it without having to do something like adjusting a difficulty setting or anything like that, right? You utilize the different other mechanics within the game to navigate your way through those obstacles, right? And it feels good when you get through it, man. I am that type of gamer, so I can attest. I know not everybody feels that way, but I am that person. You can now play NES games on the Analog Pocket. If you are not familiar with what the Analog Pocket is, let me show you. Analog Pocket is a very cool modern piece of hardware that allows you to play retro handheld cartridges like Game Boy, Neo Geo, we're talking like original Game Boy all the way through like Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color cartridges, Atari Lynx, Game Gear, all kinds of stuff. You see, the screen actually works for all these different types of cartridges as the advancements came across in technology. It's got bumper buttons, USB-C. It's got a dock that comes with it. These are the adapter cartridges for like Neo Geo, the Atari Lynx, and Game Gear and stuff. It's got a little synthesizer. You can make music with it, stuff like that. It's a cool little device, especially for people that like to play retro cartridges, right? You can see it's got bumper buttons on the back. And it's a very slick looking little device. It's around $220 US. But we've been, keeping track of this guy ever since it was kind of in pre-order status before any had actually shipped out yet. And this looks like a very, very, very cool little device. Now, it is actually, since it has been released, people have been finding ways to turn it into an emulator as well, right? Big surprise. Yeah, here, I'll link this for you. This is, I already put the Analog Pocket link in there. There you go. You've already got it. So now you can play NES games on the Analog Pocket. So here's something for retro gaming fans to celebrate this morning. Thanks to Adam Gastineau, you can now play NES games on your Analog Pocket. You don't suck, dude. You're amazing. No. You're right on time. That's exactly the time you were meant to get there today. Did you know that? If you were on time today, do you know that was possibly going to result in you getting in like a wreck or something like that? The time that you're getting to work today was exactly the time that you were meant to be there today. And I'm happy. I'm happy you're getting there at the exact time that you're getting there today. You're right on time, buddy. Wick is a wizard. So are you, Psych. You guys are both my wizard bros. This tiny little handheld device can already play a number of retro handheld games with FPGA accuracy. Now you can add the 8-bit Nintendo console to the lineup. Gastineau is also responsible for the Pocket's SNES core. Wizard Wick, yeah, dude. And Sayakome, yeah, dude. Which was made available last week thanks to time extension. The NES games are available to be played with 4 players. Saves have been implemented as well as video options and an additional palettes. Save states are coming later down the line. Yo, check it out, dude. How cool is that? That's some Castlevania. Nice. Heck it, dude. That is very cool. Multiple NES games are available via the Nintendo Switch online subscription, but if you have the Pocket, you should open up an even bigger world of 80s classics from Nintendo's system. Yeah, very cool, man. The Pocket is a very cool little device, man. Really, really neat. Atlas suing fans who resurrected their MMO SMT Imagine. Back in 2007, Atlas released the MMORPG Shin Megami Tensei Imagine. After 9 years in 2016, SMT Imagine was shut down by the company. Years later, fans of the game decided to revive the game and let others play it again. Now, Atlas is suing them. Keep reading to learn more about the ongoing legal battle between Atlas and the fans behind the SMT Imagine private server. How long is this? Here, let's take a look at this real quick. The Pocket. The Analog Pocket. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Oh, nice. Played Multiverse last night. Might be better than Smash Bros. Dude, people love Multiverse. People are loving that game. And they're doing a pretty good job with consistently rolling out updates and new characters and stuff for it. You liked it? I might have to try it, man. Might have to try it. Who's your go-to character, man? Who are you liking? Oh, Medusa, let's go. Ah! Okay. So back in 2006, Atlas released Imagine as a free-to-play MMORPG set in post-apocalyptic Tokyo. Players take control of a demon buster, people who explore the land with their allied demons. These demon busters are based around Shinjuku Babel, a tower city hub. Players can play solo or party up with others just like other MMORPGs. Although the game is free to play, microtransactions allow players to buy stronger items. This game was critically acclaimed on release and saw a release in North America in 2008, followed by a European release soon after. The Western version of the game then closed down in 2014, followed by the Japanese version in 2016. Soon after the Japanese servers shut down, work on private servers started in full. One such private server run by Rikumu Games and Comphack and started around late 2020. These servers did not have any microtransactions, and developers do not accept any donations from their players. One other private server is the Relmagin online server, which we will come back to down the line. Lawsuit against the owners of the private server was filed back on the 28th of December 2021 for copyright infringement. Atlas claimed that this fan project caused and will continue to cause irreparable damage to Atlas unless restrained by this court. One of their main claims was that the fan server blatantly copied the original website and that Rikumu added their own copyright information besides Atlas, Sega, and Cave Interactive on the website. The case has gotten so big that Rikumu and Comphack have been summoned to appear in court. Atlas is seeking $25,000 per violation, as well as to be determined as a to-be-determined amount for the damages sustained. Following this, the Relmagin online server also shut down their servers, even if Atlas has not contacted them. This was to protect the people behind the game, seeing how Atlas chose to sue instead of first serving a cease and desist order. Yeah, wow. Real nice. Private servers are not new to the MMORPG community. Many MMOs that were shut down by their developers were kept alive by fans who love these games. Should Atlas win this lawsuit, it could change the MMO private server scene. We'll update you should any new news appear regarding the situation. Yeah, dude, that feels bad. That feels bad. Like, in this particular situation, I mean, obviously the developer was like, well, we don't want to maintain servers anymore. We don't want to keep it up and running. So we're just going to shut everything down. But there's obviously still a fan base that wanted to, keep playing the game and everything. So private server went up. They weren't accepting any kind of money from anybody. They were just a fan of this game, right? And now Atlas, and it didn't even start off with like a cease and desist or anything. Just went straight into, we're just going to sue you, for trying to do something good for the fans of our title. That looks really, really bad on them, man, in my opinion. Epic Game Store adds a key feature at last. Only took 4 years. We talked about this yesterday. I saw this on my Epic Games account yesterday. It's the library customization. Yeah, you can finally create up to 11 folders to store your games in, as well as an option to now add games to a favorites list. Yep, you can see it. I'll pull it up. I saw this yesterday when I was promoting everybody to go get their free games, which, again, let's go ahead and do it. Ark Survival Evolved and Gloomhaven right now until 2 days from now. Then you'll get Runbow and DRL, okay? Go get your free games. But go to your library, look up at the top now. Stay organized with favorites and collections. You can actually create collections, sort your library out into a more customizable kind of catalog, if you will. to the same functionality, kind of the way that Steam allows us to do that, right? It took them way too long to get this incorporated, but we're seeing Epic come along, slowly come along, and give us some more of those quality of life options and those things that a gaming platform should be giving us. This was a huge one. Now, what they've got to really start pushing out for people to view Epic more in the same light as what Steam is more achievements, the ability to really customize profiles, right? We want to be able to flex those achievements and profiles and things like that. There are things like that they've really got to get on the ball on, and apparently they're supposed to be working on that, but it's taken them a while to get to that point. So they got to get it done. But look, I mean, I continue to promote their free game. Look at this library I have of just games that almost entirely free. So it's hard to hate on Epic when you can just get a bunch of free games. So grab your free games, guys. Get your free games. That's all that's about. We'll move on. Wick's favorite company, Meta, has a patent that could lead to better lip sync in video games and VR applications. Ahead of the Quest Pro's launch, a new Meta patent shows a system for more lifelike lip syncing and facial animation for VR and games. A new patent filed by Meta showcases technology that could lead to more realistic lip syncing and facial animation for video games and VR applications. The creation of NPCs and player avatars with these more lifelike facial movements opens the door to more realistic, engaging, and immersive games and experiences, including in VR games. Even as graphics have advanced in video games over the decades, allowing the creation of nearly photorealistic characters in recent years, portraying realistic speech and facial expressions for these characters has continued to provide a challenge to developers. Gamers' brains are accustomed to seeing and reading the faces of other people, so even the best facial animation on a video game character can easily cross into uncanny valley territory, leading to characters looking off or even downright disturbing. Meta's patent could allow for the generation of realistic lip syncing and facial expressions on the fly, saving time for developers and increasing immersion for players. Patent details a variety of methods for translating user speech into realistic lip syncing and facial animation, giving developers flexibility in how they choose to use the system. That's a misprint there, I think. One method outlined in the patent involves using a data set of audio and video recordings of multiple people as they read 50 different phonetically balanced sentences, with the system tracking their facial expressions as they read through each. By tracking how individuals' faces and mouths move as they read through each sentence, the system can then pull from these movements and blend them together to realistically animate a character, even including subtle movements like blinks and eyebrow raises. With upcoming VR headsets such as the MetaQuest Pro and Pico Neo 4 Pro, including built-in face and eye tracking and auto sweet baby rays mouth injections, it's one of the other possibilities described in the patent that fans of VR games and social experiences might find the most interesting. In addition to being able to generate facial animation and lip syncing based on an existing data set, the patent also describes how the system could do the same thing using cameras integrated into a VR headset. This feature could allow VR users to have avatars that accurately mimic their own facial expressions, making for a more realistic and immersive experience in multiplayer games and social VR experiences like VR chat. From Valve's Source Engine, which used an animation system that modeled facial movements for each phenom, the individual sounds that make up words of dialogue, to Team Bondi's use of motion scan technology to capture LA Noir's actors' performances using a system of 32 high-definition cameras. Creating realistic faces for gaming has always seemed just out of reach. Meta's patent could indicate a huge technological leap forward in this quest and may help usher a new era of high-quality, lifelike facial animation in games and VR experiences. I hope everybody caught that sweet baby raise that I threw in that article there. Hopefully you know why. That's all I'm going to say. All right, let's keep going. We'll see how that plays out. That could be cool. Could be cool. E3 makes 2023 dates official with an impending video games show war brewing. I'll believe it when I see it, E3. Okay. E3 is coming back in 2023, and now fans finally have dates on when exactly one of the biggest shows in gaming will make its long-awaited return. E3 2023 is scheduled to start on June 13th next year, and it will feature a split schedule that will target both industry business representatives and the general public. Look, let's stop right here and just talk about the fact that E3 has said this before. Over the past few years, E3 has said, we're going to be back. We're going to be back. We're going to do it. This is going to be our date. We're going to be back. We're going to hold another showcase. And then it doesn't happen, right? It doesn't come to fruition. They cancel. And then we end up with what has become the norm nowadays for the gaming industry, for just a lot of these different developers and publishers to kind of have their own showcases, right? Taking place at the LA Convention Center, the newest edition of E3 will have business days from June 13th to 15th. The general public portion of the convention will open up to those who wish to attend on June 15th until the convention's final day on June 16th. The hype starts now. No, it doesn't. The speculation starts now, and how long until you guys cancel? When the convention opens up its doors to a wider audience for the final 2 days of the event, it will include the customary booths for gamers to test out games, talk to developers and game reps, and check out new titles. Also be a theater featuring deep dive looks at highly anticipated titles, which will most likely dominate the portions of the event that will be streamed online. Of course, the elephant in the room when it comes to next year's E3 and its scheduling is how it will coincide with Summer Game Fest 2023, which is also supposed to take place in LA in June. Much like E3's plans for next year, Summer Game Fest will be a hybrid digital and in-person event. Unlike E3, however, Summer Games Fest will most likely retain Jeff Keighley, who formerly hosted events and streams at E3. Yeah. Even if the two conventions take place on separate weekends, it will be difficult for the two video game shows not to compete for attention, both from viewers and attendees who want new game news and the attention of developers who are interested in participating in one of the shows. Regardless, E3 will maybe return to its stages and booths in person for the first time in 4 years when the show opens next June. That's the thing. They keep saying we're coming back, and they keep, like, at the beginning of the year, they go, we're canceling. We're canceling. So, I take this with a grain of salt, man. And I said this last year whenever they canceled again, or this year when they canceled again. And I don't think that E3 will be the E3 that they used to be. Even if they come back, I don't think E3 will ever be the showcase, the convention that it once was. I just don't. GameStop has a lot of great game deals right now, guys. Let's see. Best game deals at GameStop right now. If you're yet to play Horizon Forbidden West, instead of picking up the collector's edition from GameStop, typically retailing it for $200, the bundle can be had right now for just $100. Along with the base game, the bundle comes with a gigantic Tremordisk statue, alloy statue, steelbook case, and mini art book. For something more affordable, the highly reviewed It Takes Two is on sale for $20, down from $40. Other notable sales include RE Village for $35, Soul Hackers 2 for $40, Tiny Tina's Wonderland for $50, down from $70. That feels gross. Cyberpunk 2077 is $20. Elden Ring's $50. Far Cry 6 is $20. Final Fantasy VII Remake Integrated is $34. Halo Infinite is $33. Horizon Forbidden West we just talked about. Hot Wheels Unleashed is $30. Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity is $50. It Takes Two we talked about. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga is $50. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit Mario set is $90. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, $45, $44. Pikmin 3 Deluxe, $45. Pokemon Sword, pre-owned, $35. Red Dead Redemption 2, pre-owned, $30. RE Village, $35. Ring Fit Adventure, $70. Soul Hackers 240. Tiny Tina's Wonderland was 50, down from 70. Blech. Jeez, dude. Zelda Breath of the Wild is 45. Pre-owned. Look, if you're in the market for some of these games, check this out. Breath of the Wild, we already know Breath of the Wild 2 is coming out early next year. Supposed to be early next year. Breath of the Wild, you will be able to get Breath of the Wild plus all its DLC around probably the end of November. There's going to be a lot of sales. So within the next 2 months, you'll be able to get it for this price or maybe even a little bit less. You'll get Breath of the Wild plus all its DLC. So just hold off. And it won't be pre-owned. Accessory deals. They got a lot of stuff in here, man. So I'll just throw this. They got solid state drives, peripherals. I'll throw it in here. You guys take a look if you're interested in some of this other these other deals from GameStop. Okay, this is the last article I have for the day. If you guys have anything else to add, let me know. I'll address it before we move on. Probably just starting off with some Shatterline today. Okay, that's the way I'm feeling this morning. I don't know. That's just what I'm feeling. Oh, dude. Just feeling some Shatterline. So we'll start off with Shatterline today, and we'll see if we work our way into some City Skylines. Okay. Genshin Impact reveals new character. As has become fairly common for Genshin, developer MiHoYo has officially revealed new playable characters set to join the popular free-to-play video game ahead of the upcoming update. Genshin 3.1, King Deshret and the Three Magi, is set to release on September 28th, tomorrow. And prior to that, the developer has detailed the previously revealed Nahida and revealed the new playable character, Layla, who is a cryo-attuned adventurer. Layla specializes in theoretical astrology and draws star charts tirelessly in order to write her thesis. Genshin's brief description of the new character reads, "You can check out what the art for Layla in Genshin Impact looks like for yourself below." There's Layla. While not explicitly stated, the developer typically introduces characters like this ahead of the patch. This serious leaks might start coming out because they themselves are part of the following patch. That is all to say, Nahida and Layla are most likely going to be available to pull and play during Genshin Impact version 3.2, given that version 3.1 releases this week. As noted above, yep. So right now, Genshin is free to play on PS4, PS5, PC, and mobile devices. Has been slated to come to Switch for a long time now. Still slated for that, but there's no announcement on a definitive date yet, okay? That's what I got. We're going to get into some gaming stuff now. I appreciate you guys. Thanks for being a part of this news segment. If you're enjoying the content and you're liking what you're seeing here, then see what you can do about coming and hanging out with myself, the rest of this amazing community, when we go live at 6 o'clock a.m. CST every single day, and we start all of our streams off with video gaming news, okay? Also, see what you can do about potentially hitting that like and subscribe button for me if you're enjoying the content. Other than that, you guys just stay healthy, stay safe, be kind to one another, and we will catch everybody tomorrow for September 28th's edition of Video Gaming News. All right?